Greetings, Ashen, the comic book hunter here with another comic book hunt. I have had a hell of a time trying to get this stream up and going, but today is the day when hopefully I can get this bad boy done. So I'm sorry for any interruptions that may have come yesterday during my attempted live streams and all that kind of stuff, but for realsy dealsy. We will get through this show with hopefully out any hitches. Anyway, if you are new to the Comic Book Hunter, I'm going to break down what I do. The first segment, I talk to you about comics I picked up this past Wednesday, and I give you like a little review, let you know what I thought of each. The second portion, I talk to you about comics that you may want to consider picking up next week. I give you my suggestions. And in the final portion, I talk to you about a few crowdfunded comic books. Who knows what's going on with the industry? Maybe that might be the future of how things go. So it's always good to have your finger on the pulse of comic books. So go check that out. Wait for it at the end. Okay, so without further ado, let us get started with our first comic book of the week. That's it. We have Dark Knight's Death Metal. And I gotta say, this is quintessential Scott Snyder. If you like Scott Snyder, then I can recommend this comic for you. It has the chaotic feel of Dark Knight's Metal, but done differently. Different perspective this time. This time you're in an unfamiliar world with familiar heroes around you. All their situations are different though, because somebody has created a problem for everyone. Who would that be though? Well, in this little segment here, you can see that the Batman Who Laughs has created an army of imprinted Batmen who he is using to govern all the other superheroes in this world. This world is new. It's not something I've experienced before. I don't know if there was a layout for this in another comic book or anything, but it is quite interesting, and I do like to see the roles everybody plays in this world. And I gotta say, the ending of this issue was quite surprising, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens next. I'm not going to spoil much for you, but I will say that if you read Doomsday Clock, enjoyed it or not enjoyed it, well, they do tie that into this story, and that is pretty major. So that's exciting. That's not something I was expecting at all, and it got me hooked. I'm really looking forward to issue number 2 of this. Once again, Scott Snyder is kind of, he's got a crazy storytelling. He goes through these big overarching stories. And so if you're in the mood for that kind of stuff, then definitely check this out. What do we have next? Well, let's see. That is the question. The question. The Deaths of Vic Sage, number 3. That is my next comic on this agenda. And what can I say about it? It is quite good. One thing I was a little concerned about is I saw on Midtown Comics that this is actually being limited. So I was worried that this was going to be hard to get. I know that not a ton of people picked up the first volume, but if you can get your hands on this series, do yourself a favor and grab it up, because I'm very much enjoying this. And it's really a generational story, and it kind of pieces together the character of Vic Sage and ties him together with all the lives that he may have lived. But it's really interesting because there's a cult element, and somehow his lives are tied to it. Anyway, let me show you a little bit of the art from the inside. And here is kind of all his past selves sort of reconciling with his present day self. And it's really quite cool. This is sort of a stamp of Jeff Lemire, because Jeff Lemire is the writer. I don't really always agree with Jeff Lemire's personal perspectives on things, but as a writer, I do enjoy him, so I do try to pick up his work. Anyway, if this sounds cool to you, if you like the character of The Question, this is probably one of the best stories you are going to have found in a long time. The last book I have to show you this week is something that you may not expect from me. Invader Zim Quarterly! Yes, I know this is an oddball and this is just kind of out there and whatnot, but I wanted to bring this up because my wife and myself have been reading the Invader Zim comics for years now, and they ended the run with issue number 50, and they are starting a quarterly series right here that is starting at number 1. So if you like Invader Zim, now's the time to jump on. I mean, this comes out once every 3 months. You really can't beat that because it's not a lot of dedication to picking something up. It wasn't extremely expensive. I think it was like $6 for this, and it's like 32 pages. I guess the price is on the back cover. Whatever the case is, if you enjoy Invader Zim, pick this up. If you don't, I don't know what to tell you because there's a lot of lure already in here. If you've never read the previous comic books or if you've never seen the television series, then this might not be for you because you get thrown right into the deep end. But maybe that's what you like. I don't know. But I got the other cover. I picked it up as well because it's issue number 1. So I'm interested in that. It depends on the covers really when it comes to stuff like this because I love Invader Zim. My wife loves it. So if there are 2 good covers, we'll pick them up for this. If there's just one, then we'll only get the one. It's subjective every week. Anyway, that is it. Let me show you a little bit of the art from the inside. This is one of the funnier sequences in the book. Gur, as some of you know, is a robot that dresses like a dog to disguise in with the human population. Anyway, he has a run-in with a spaceship that looks like a pie, and all the aliens inside look like berries. So Gur starts stalking the ship, trying to eat the aliens. It's just really stupid and funny. But yeah, so there you go. Now you got a peek on the inside, and we will go to the next section of the comic book hunt. What comics to pick up next week? All right, so let us take a look. This is also written by Jeff Lemire, so if you are into Jeff Lemire's kind of writing, I don't know how he's going to do with this. I don't know if it's another reconciling with yourself type of a story, but this is called Batman Smile Killer, and it has my attention. I am going to check this out. I don't really know what else to say about it until I peek into it, but it does have my attention. Good writer, good artist, and I'm going to go take a look at it. Next up, we have Rogue Planet. This is written by Cullen Bunn, and he is an excellent horror writer. He's written stuff like the Pumpkinhead series that came out a while back. Really, horror is his forte, and he enjoys horror if you ever look over on Twitter at him or whatever. But this series has my attention. First issue was really good, really built up to something, put some history behind it, and then put these people on this planet with this ancient alien god thing. But this will be the real place to decide if I'm going to keep picking up this issue or not, and I'll tell you about it next week because last issue was good. There was a lot of build up, but now I need to see if there's any decent payoff or not. Okay, and now on to the last comic book I will be picking up this week, Sleeping Beauties. Yes, this story is actually written by Stephen King's son. So that had my attention. I think DC is also doing some comic books with Stephen King's son, but this one is not in that line, so I really want to see what he's going to do with it. I got the ash can for this, and it was really trippy, very strange. Nude woman in the woods running around, talking to a dead rabbit, and showing up at some people's house and stuff like that. It's really strange. There's a lot of metaphor being used in there, especially in this one prison sequence. So it's definitely going to be an odd story. I don't really know what to make of it yet. It was so strange I can't even begin to review it. So I will be picking this up, and hopefully I can decipher where things are heading, and then I will get back to you with that. So you can pick this up or not, either way, but I definitely will be picking this up. Okay, so that is the second portion out of the way. We are really trucking along today. As you can see here, we are 2/3 of the way done. It doesn't appear that we have anyone else watching. It sucks because yesterday other people were showing up and I got likes on the video and stuff. But that's always the way, man. Let me tell you, when it comes to these live streams, you could just never predict if they're going to come off without a hitch or not. Anyway, let's go on to the last portion here. We are going to look first at Brand, Way of the Gun. Yes, Antonio Bryce brings us the sequel to Brand. This is Brand Chapter 2. This is a world where people use they use magic to basically have superpowers and stuff like that. It's really quite interesting how they use magic in this book. There is some political espionage elements to this. I'm not the biggest fan of that, but overall the book is incredible and the art is really good. Kanan White, I believe, is the artist, so you can't go wrong. In this volume, we are getting introduced to Evil Santana, and he's sort of an agent of chaos. You can see him here. He's like the evil Santa Claus, not bringing gifts to town. So definitely check this out. I know that you can get the first volume here too, so you won't miss anything if this sounds interesting to you. Go check it out, definitely. I've already put my order in. Next up, we have Babylon Working #2, yes, by No Sleep Press. This book really impressed me. This is sort of like a mercenary version of Guardians of the Galaxy, and it is a fun story, and there's like a lot of adult themes in here. There's a lot of nudity and violence and some pretty dark elements to it. It can be funny at times, but then when it gets really dark, they really know how to drive it home. So anyway, if that sounds interesting to you, we have Babylon Working #2. Now we have Minxx Cyberpunk. This one is actually over on Kickstarter. Yeah, I don't normally go over to Kickstarter because I don't like their payment system. And, you know, obviously there's been a lot of issues with them recently, gatekeeping people out and whatnot. I would still buy something if it interested me enough, but like it would have to be something incredible. Like the only thing I bought on Kickstarter so far was this super pillow thing and that McFarlane statue. But don't let that stop you. If you are fine with Kickstarter, then please go check out Minxx Cyberpunk. Looks like a pretty badass story. And from what I understand, it's sort of tied into a larger universe. But this is an issue #1, so I'm guessing this is going to be a great place to start. And I've been talking to the people that have created this universe, and I actually went onto their website and picked up the first volume of the comic that this is tied to. So I'm really excited in reading that. I'm going to give you a review on that later whenever it shows up. But definitely go over there and, you know, check it out, scope it out for yourself and see if this is something that you may want to back. I mean, look at that. Nearly $19,000 dollars put into that already, 610 backers. That's really good, you know? So there's got to be something working for him there. Anyway, that's all I have for you. This was your comic book hunt for this week. I will see you again next week. Let's see, I do have a video coming out later this week where I will be showing you my latest alternate comic shipment, giving you some ideas for maybe alternate comics you might want to pick up or whatnot, show you how they're packed and whatever the situation is. But there you go. I hope you all enjoyed this. I didn't seem to get anyone live tonight, and that's fine. It just kind of, you know, I keep trying to do these live because I know there's a few people out there who want them live, but like, I don't know, I'm thinking a little more at a time, you know, every now and again that I might not, I might go with the non-live model because it really doesn't seem to matter very much. But if you didn't watch this, and you're catching it now on the premiere, or if you're catching it later, whatever the case is, I appreciate all of you for stopping in and watching this, supporting my work. It means a lot to me, and I just want you all to know that. Well, I hope you all have a great evening. Yes.